guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special day here on my channel, and we are going to be looking at the Sydney Grace x Temptalia collaboration. If you're interested in seeing what these palettes look like, swatches, let's talk about it a little bit, and then I'll be doing 3 looks on the first palette. Then just keep watching. I will be right back. I'm going to go get my rosé so we can toast for the celebration. All right, everybody, thank you so much for clicking on my video, and cheers. Oh, did you guys think I was playing? No, honey, I'm not playing. I am here to celebrate the new collaboration. And here they are. Cheers. Okay, so we are so excited. I think we got sneak peeks to this like maybe around Christmas time or like the beginning of the year. I know it's been months and months and months. And we were getting a little antsy because we weren't seeing anything. Well, all of a sudden, they dropped the news. A month later, the collab goes live, and here we are. There's been so many exciting collabs lately, and I'm just so thrilled for everyone. So Temptalia, congratulations. I am so excited. This was a big launch, and we'll talk about the collection a little bit. But it had to be because it is Temptalia, and so it had to be big. So today we're going to talk about the specifics, we're going to talk about the pricing, look at some swatches, but this video is not going to be a million years old. We're only going to look at the first palette today. I'm going to break it up into 3 videos because quite frankly, it was a little overwhelming. So let's go ahead and start talking about the collection. Before we do, don't forget to like if you like what you see. Consider subscribing. I like a lot of colorful eyeshadow here on my channel, a lot of luxury beauty for the rest of your face. You get a really good mix of everything, all things makeup. I have a makeup and chill Friday night live stream that we do here. Sometimes we bring brands on, we bring other creators, and so it's just a fun time. So definitely take a second to do that. And go follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's where all the fun's at. We talk about all things makeup, tag each other on looks, releases, all the things. So I will see you guys there. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so like I said, this was announced the beginning of the year. And, you know, we thought it'd be a nice palette. I mean, seeing how successful the Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson collab was and how well executed and perfect it was, I mean, we knew that this was going to be good. And Sydney Grace was the brand to do it. And so we were very excited. The collection released with 3 separate palettes. And if you hold them all together, the collection released with 3 separate palettes. If you hold them all together, I have like the collection released with 3 separate palettes. I'm laughing because I've tried this 5 times and I have the smallest hand, so yeah, not gonna work. Anyway, it released with 3 separate palettes. They're all meant to create like this little collage here, and I'll just pop a picture up here because my hands are too small. And each one with a different color story. The art on the palettes were so beautiful. We have the silhouette, or you know, a dog in the distance, which was unfortunately her puppy that passed away recently that she was so sad about. So it was such a beautiful tribute to him. And so it felt like so personal, such a personal collection that was just so Temptalia. Then we see her post a couple days after the release, and she kind of showed her hair, really beautiful long hair, which we're not really used to seeing her hair down. It's always up. But really beautiful hair with the same color theme of the palettes highlighted throughout her hair. I mean, it was just beautiful. So, I mean, it just feels like her from what I've seen and what I've heard. So that's what I will say. Now, each palette retails for $40. They're still available on SydneyGrace.com. And that's one thing that I was so excited about because they were very well prepared for this release. They knew that it was going to be a big deal. They did also say that it would be permanent. And so I'm very happy to see that. Especially in the indie world, because there's always like, you know, stuff selling out, a lot of pre-orders, all the stuff that sometimes deters the customer from purchasing. So I love that. Again, each palette $40 at the time, and even now you can buy the trio for $100. It just automatically discounts the $20 out of your cart. And then there's codes that you can be using so that you can save an additional 15%. Like I used Temptalia's code. There's also Mel Thompson's code. I know Karen Harris has a code. There's a few creators out there with codes to save you an additional 15% off. Now there's 3 palettes. Today we are going to be looking at Radiant Reflection. This is the one that goes at the very top of that picture. This is also the only palette that I purchased in the deep. That was another thing, is they released with deep and light options. I just went strictly by the color stories that I liked or preferred. So I went with light on the other 2 palettes, but this one was the one that I picked up in the deep. So this palette comes with 12 shades. There is 3 mattes and 9 shimmers. And, you know, as per usual, these shimmers, these formulas, the mattes, everything performs very, very nicely. Now you will see these 2 looks first. And what I can tell you about the palette is that all of the shades that I used in these first 2 looks perform very, very nicely. But when I swatched them, the only one that I kind of felt was a little off was this one, Sublime Reverie. It felt a little dry to me even as I swatched it, and I just wanted to point that out because that's typically not the case with Sydney Grace. Her shadows are just absolutely gorgeous, but this one just felt a little dry. Other than that, I felt like everything just swatched very nicely, performed nicely on the lids. This one here, Forget Her Not, this purple one that I went in the whole outer corner with, man, I went in with a fluffy brush. You guys will see in a minute. And it is just so pigmented. But I mean, they all are. This yellow Exquisite Opulence is so punchy. I mean, it is pigment on another level in the same creamy shimmer formula. Everything's really, really nicely done. So what I think I'm going to do now that I've shown you the palette, giving you some specifics and the swatches, is I'm going to go into the first 2 looks, which are the 2 that you're looking at right now. I think they came out very, very beautiful, but they were super easy to put together. So we'll do that very quickly. And then I'll come back with a 3rd and final look. I think I have an idea of what I want to create for the last look, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Now, please don't forget to subscribe because I will be doing individual videos for each of the palettes. So for today, we are going to focus on Radiant Reflection. Let's go ahead and look at looks number 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to take Unstoppable Love and deepen out the outer V, and that's how we're going to start this look. It's definitely going on very, very silky and blending out nicely. I'm only doing the last 1/3 of the eye, but look at how pretty that's blended out. I'm going to take a little bit more and deepen it out a little bit further. Maybe I'll bring in just a little bit towards the inner corner, but no additional product, just blending in what's left on my brush. Next, I'm going to use my Sonia G Soft Shader brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Operos. And I'm going to go into the middle, the middle of the lid, blending into the first shade. Going back into Unstoppable Love with my mini booster and deepening that up even further. Going in a little bit here. Next, I'm going to cut the crease so I can go in with a lighter shimmer. So I will just carve out where do I want to cut the crease. I'm going to go in towards the middle, not covering up the entire pink shimmer, but just cutting a section out of it. While that dries, I'm going to go into Unstoppable Love again with my Sephora Pro Smudge Brush, and I'm going to deepen that out even further and make sure that it's all blended. Now that the concealer has dried a little bit, I'm going in with my Sigma F70 into the shade Phosphines to add a really bright shimmer. I'm going to wet my brush just a little bit with some MAC Fix Plus to make sure it stays put. This shimmer is going on like butter, I'm gonna go in with my Tom Ford Eye Defining Pin and just draw a small wing just to kind of bring everything together. It's still looking a little light for my taste, so I think the eyeliner will set it perfectly. I'll come back and I'll work on the lower lash line, but I want to do the second eye look, and then we'll take the tape off, do the lower lash line with the rest of the face so you can see what those look like. For the second look, I'm gonna make it an all shimmer look, and so I'm going to go into the shade Forget Her Not. Just a really beautiful purple. I'm going in with my Rephr number 1, and I'm going to just smoke it out. Whoa, that's pigmented. Whew. That's a shimmer. This is a fluffy brush. It should have gone everywhere, and I don't have any fallout, so I just want to point that out. I'm going to take my BK Beauty 206 and go into the shade Opulence. It's a really pretty light blue. And focus that on the second, third, the middle shade there. I'll go back into Rephr number one, and then no additional product, but just make sure everything's blended because I do have hooded lids, so they tend to crease. Look at how pretty that is. Just those two shades there. Now I'm gonna take a pop of yellow in the first third of the eye, and I'm gonna go into Exquisite Opulence with my pinky, so it's that gold shade there. I'm going to very lightly place it on the first. All of these shades pack such a punch. So I'm going back with my 206 and just very lightly making sure that they blend together there nicely. Man, that gold is super punchy. It's very, very strong. I ended up having to just kind of drag it towards the middle because the light blue was not going to help it blend. It just wasn't as strong or powerful as that yellow, but there we go. There's look number 2. Let me finish my face. I'll take off the tapes and then we can work on the lower lash line. And here are the first 2 looks. I absolutely love them. I am obsessed with how these looks came out. I think it came out so, so good. We have to do the lower lash line, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I'm not gonna do anything too intricate because I still have one more look that I want to do for you guys. So on this eye here, what I think I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to go in with Op Rose here, this one here, BK Beauty 207, and I'm gonna go into Op Rose. Think that looks pretty. And then to tie it in all together, I'm going to go into the first shade that we used, Forget Her Not. Same brush, BK Beauty 207. I may be messing up the whole look, but you know, we're not perfect. We just like makeup. And I'm like trying to build it up into this very sharp eye that I had going. And I like how that looks. It still looks really sharp, but it gave a little bit of red here. Maybe I'm going to tighten it back up just with a clean brush. Just try to sharpen it a little bit. And I'm gonna leave it there before I ruin it more. I think I wanna go into the Exquisite Opulence, the gold, and just kind of go into the inner corner and bring the gold down a little bit. And that's it. I'm done with this look. With this look, I'm going to go into Dearest Constant in my Sephora Pro Smudger brush. And I'm gonna go in pretty tight. That's such a pretty color, look at that. I'm not gonna really do anything in the inner corner. I think it's already bright enough, and that's where I'm going to stay. Just do a very light orange there. So again, these are the 2 looks. Let's go ahead and go into the third and final look. Okay, and let's go ahead and finish the third and final look. I have some thoughts already on the shadows as I was working through this look on this eye first, but I'm going to do it and apply it exactly the same way as I did the first time so that you guys can kind of see what my thoughts are and why. So let's go ahead and jump into, so I'm going to take a Sonia G mini booster and I will go into Sublime Reverie. And all I've used to prime my lids is ABH eye primer. I really like the tone of this green. It looks like it's gonna be like a really punchy, deep, dark green, but it blends out really soft and beautiful. I really, really like it. I'm going to take the same brush and go into the shade Gloss Over and go over the same areas, but a little bit lower on the lid. Gonna go back very lightly into Sublime Reverie. Next, what I did the first time when I was building this look is I went into my Sigma F70, which is my concealer brush, into Our Starry Night, and I saturated the brush and then I wet the brush or just spritzed it with my MAC Fix Plus. And I went in thinking I would get a really nice deep punch of this blue glitter, just like it's swatched. But what I noticed, and you can see that there, do you see that? It's not really giving me this crazy amount of pigment at first application. You still have to build it up a little bit. So the reason that I wanted to show you guys that is because what my thoughts are is that it's swatched beautifully. It's more of a creamy shimmer. I don't think you have to wet it. I think regardless of how you apply, it's going to go on, but I feel like I had to build it up a little bit more because my brush was wet, which is, you know, something good to know. I think when we see shimmers, sometimes we want to wet them so that they stay in place more, or they go on creamier or more bold. But with this one, I really just don't think it's necessary. Now I'm going throughout the entire lid with it, but just leaving the outer V without applying it. So it's just almost a full lid, but not the outer section. And with this one, I did have a little bit of fallout here. Okay, I'm gonna take this tiny little fluffy brush to go on the lower lash line. I'll go into Sublime Reverie. And I'll take it down the entire lower lash line. Connect it to the top shadow here. Then I'm going to go in with the same brush to gloss over that light blue and go on top. More of a smokier eye, and then I'm bringing the shadow a little bit lower than I normally do. I'm going to go into the lower waterline with my LA Girl, and this is in that neon yellow. The shade is Screamin'. You know what I should have done? I should have used Teresa's lime green liner. Ugh. This one's good too, but that one packs a punch. Okay, some mascara in the lower lashes. This is my Sephora Lash Craft. Okay, and here is the final third look. I love this look. I think it's so beautiful. I mean, I've been waiting for like a really deep royal blue shimmer, and I think that this one gives me exactly what I've been wanting. I really like how it came out. It's shimmery, it's not a duochrome, it's not sparkly like Glam Shop, but it is just right because the color is so bold and I love it. Some observations, I think I talked about this a little bit in the intro, but this green does feel a little dry. That being said, once I blended it into the lid, it blended out beautifully, seamlessly, and I really love the green that you get out of it. You think you're gonna get just a traditional like hunter green, but in reality, it's a lot softer than that, and I actually really liked that. With the shimmer, the blue shimmer specifically, you don't really have to wet the lid. it's going, or wet your brush, it's going to look just as good, maybe even a little more shimmery if you don't wet the brush. So that's what I would say about that. And then everything else, I just feel like it turned out so, so nice. I've been wanting a blue look. Like the last blue look that I created that I loved, that I was obsessed with for so long, was with my Dior Denim Quint. So now I feel like I'm digging this a lot. I really, really like it. Final thoughts on this palette, which is Radiant Reflection. Again, this is in the deep version. I love it. I knew that I was. At the end, we'll do a roundup showing all the palettes swatched together because I do feel that they are a little similar. So for me, I wanted the whole collection because it was Temptalia, duh. But I also wanted it because of the graphics that they created. You know, it just looks really, really nice. Eventually though, I feel like, you know, I'm going to split the palettes, you know, with friends or with family just as gifts because I don't need them all. They kind of look alike. But that's just me right now, only having swatched one of the palettes. But in general, like Sydney Grace formula is bomb. Temptalia knew what she was doing with selecting the colors that she did. I think it's beautiful. It speaks to every makeup lover out there that loves colorful looks and shadows. And so I just think that it's beautiful. This is totally like a summer release type of palette to me, and I love it. Congratulations, Temptalia. I'm just gonna say it one more time. Cheers, girl. You did it with this collection. I love Radiant Reflection. I'm also so happy that we got the option to choose between deep and light because, again, I customized. I went deep with this one, and then the next two palettes that you'll see in future videos are in the light version. So yeah, that's my initial 3 looks, 1 palette with Radiant Reflection in the deep version. If you like this video, if you like the looks, give me a like. Give me some combos down in the comments below. Let me know what other color combinations you'd like to go with. Did you pick up the collection? I want to know. I'm curious. That's kind of why I do this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you over on my Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, I'll also see you on my next video. Bye!